Hey, it's your boy S4 Shawn the Wonder here, and I just want to talk to you a little bit about this year in 2020 for gaming. Um, 2020 just started off as being like ugh, the worst year probably my whole life that I can think of. Of all the shit that went down, COVID, as you know, incidents with the police brutality reached a peak in decades. But gaming itself, as in general, has been pretty good this year. It's been like actually looking back at what's released this year. This is like one of the best years in terms of gaming. Well, especially financially for the game industry because it looks like more people bought games more than ever this year. Of course, due to the pandemic and having to stay inside most of the time, so people buying games more than usual. Um, as far as releases go, um, yeah, in the beginning, I don't think there was really anything notable that released in January. I think Dragon Ball Z Kakarot came out this January. Was that last year? I think it was this year, but anyway, that's just a middle of the ground game to me. I haven't bothered paying all that much attention to it, though I did see reviews for it. Seems okay. February was when we started getting a little bit better titles, like when Street Fighter V Champion Edition came out, which is basically just the definitive version, like how we got Super Street Fighter 4, last generation, and Ultra Street Fighter 4. So actually, I did not play Street Fighter 5 until February when the Champion Edition came out. So I was pretty late in the game, but I really wanted to get back into fighting games again after having not played any consistently since 2012. So yeah, it's been like a whole 8 years since I really played fighting games. So I picked up Street Fighter V Champion Edition and Dreams. Both of those games came out on the same day. It was Valentine's Day of this year. Dreams is a weird one. It's to me, it's not really a video game as more as it is sort of a platform to make games, sort of like a game engine. Because really, um, the little campaign in it is not really the main focus of it. It's like only 2 hours long, I think. It's not even the main focus of the Dreams. Dreams is all about playing other people's created dreams, or in this case, games. The games they call in Dreams is we call them dreams. So yeah, you either play other people's dreams or you make your own. I've been spending a lot of time in that. Honestly, but I should be putting in more time in those. Yeah, your enjoyment of dreams is all dependent on how good is you are making your own stuff, or how much enjoyment you get from playing other people's dreams. And it all depends on what you find too, because it seems like there's thousands of creations out there. And moving on to March is when we started getting the really good stuff. In March, we got Doom Eternal and Animal Crossing New Horizons. Um, Doom Eternal was a really good successor. Well, I haven't played the original reboot that came out. I think it was 2016, and but I did pick up Eternal. It's a really good game. It's hard, but it's good. Well, I expected it to be kind of hard anyway. And Animal Crossing New Horizons. I still don't have a Nintendo Switch yet, but it was really nice to see how many these people. Like it seemed like everybody had went out and got one when it came out. Like on my Instagram feed, like all the female gamer followers I follow, like all the cosplayers and all the female cosplayers, gamers, anime watchers, etc. Seemed like they picked up Animal Crossing New Horizons when it came out. That's crazy because it happened. It came out like right after the shutdown started happening, maybe like a couple of weeks or so after that, or within a week. Yeah, so people really bond for to do something. And Animal Crossing, since it's like a life, sort of like a life simulator. I still haven't even played any of the series, but just from watching, it seemed like a life simulator. it gave people a little sense of normalcy in their lives. It actually blew up way more than I thought it did. Like a ton of people I didn't even think would play games were on New Horizons, and even got reached the political sphere as well. As we saw, there was campaigns for Joe Biden within it as well, and a lot of foreign companies like banks were also getting into it, had ads within the game as well. Then Nintendo had to come in and tell people not to put politics in the game. So I think that Biden Island had eventually been deleted or removed for the game. Yeah, I'm kind of disappointed that I missed out on um, during this hype because it seemed like it was a particularly exciting time to be on. Also, at the end of March, we also got was it the end of March or early May? I think it was the end of March when Persona 5 Royal came out, which is the definitive version of Persona 5, which came out originally in 2017 worldwide. So I was actually really hyped for the release because I didn't play Persona 5 until like 2019, the last year, and I've been kind of it's the game has been over my mind for like the past over a year now when I played it. It's just that good to me. And the definitive version, Royal really adds a lot to it. Almost makes it feel like an entirely new game with all the improvements. Especially the third semester is really good. Like it does put some things in perspective as well. Um, Heading off to March and into April. I think Final Fantasy VII Remake came out like early April. Like it was not that. I think it was just like the next week after Royal came out. So we had the Final Fantasy VII Remake, which has been on the radar for people since like 2005, and but it ain't officially get announced until 2013. And I was really skeptical on getting it at first. I was really skeptical about it. I didn't really think. I thought it was weird how they was going to make the beginning segment was maybe like 3 or 5 hours long into a whole full-fledged game that lasts for like at least 30 hours. But since we're on lockdown, I had extra money and time. I just went ahead and bought it like probably like a week or two after it came out, and it was actually really good. Actually, I was actually surprised. The Square Enix seemed like they've been disappointed lately when it comes to the Final Fantasy franchise. But overall, it was a good game, even though I'm still worried about some of the story stuff in the game that they added in, like the whispers, and then the game's ended. But hopefully, the part the other parts will end up being good and not too weird, as the ending might suggest it might get really weird. Oh, we also have Resident Evil 3 remake come out in April as well. I did pass on it. Like I did suspect like it was announced just a little bit after Resident Evil 2 um, remake came out last year. I was like, just say the whole next year. That just seems like a little too soon to me. And then my fears were actually right this time because when the reviews came out, there was so much content. It felt rushed. And like the resistance mode was supposed to make up for how much the regular campaign lacked. I did end up getting it like way late. Like I bought it around Halloween so I could have something Halloween themed to play. And yeah, people were actually right. It feels way too short. I do. I feel like the original ended up being better, even though the remake does some things better than the original, mainly just the gunplay. And yeah, that's really about it. I think the remake has over the original, just the gameplay and the gunplay and the graphics. Really, they removed the multiple choices you get for taking different routes. Nemesis, I felt like was in the game more in the original. He's mostly just boss fights in this and like little scripted scenes, but he did have much more presence than the original, and not to mention a lot of cut areas from the original as well. So the story really felt rushed. The pacing was way off. It was too fast. But then moving to May, The Last of Us Part Two came out, which seemed like the majority of people were hyping up. Once leaks started coming out about the game, though, that's when people's hype sort of died down. But still, it still sold a massive amount of copies, though. Like it was ridiculous. Speaking of Animal Crossing New Horizons sold a fuck ton as well. I think it sold 13 million copies so far. I think it took a week, and in its first week, I think that's how much it sold. Last of Us Two, I don't remember sales, but it sold a lot too. I still have no interest in playing Last of Us Part Two. Um, just the original game's ending felt final. Like I didn't really see where you could go from there. It ended perfectly to me, so I ain't see the point of the sequel. And after reading spoilers of it, I'm fine with not playing the game. I mean, the gameplay is better, but the story is the most important factor for that game, for the original me. So I'm not compelled to play, even if it's just for gameplay purposes. Um, Following that in 20, oh yeah, and then we had the whole debacle with all the cancellations for all the conferences this year. That was sad. That was most disappointing for me because E3 got canceled this year, and that's the first time in its over 20-year history. I think it started in the 90s. Yeah, and even prior to its cancellation, things were looking bad for it. Jeff Keighley announced he wasn't going to come. PlayStation pulled out, I think back in February before the pandemic hit. There's also always been companies saying this is too expensive and all that. Nintendo lately, for the past few years, has only been doing Treehouse Lives instead of show floor conferences. Um, yeah, a lot of people saying this cancellation was like the nail in the coffin, like it's never going to return. I really hope not, because I did plan on going to it one day, and the whole internet seemed like they're fine with it being the case, because I don't understand some people, but it's nice to have something in person sometimes. We get online trailers and demonstrations like all the time, like all year long. It'd be nice to have something in person every once in a while, like at least once a year, like a one big thing where everybody would be at. But yeah, that really hurt me this year because I was finally going to go to E3. Um, Also, with gaming, oh yeah, I did go to MagFest back in January. And that didn't go well for me either because I ended up getting sick. Like I had the flu that weekend. I caught it that Saturday. Remember, I was sitting out. It was by a DJ booth or something. I was really feeling bad. I was really cold. I was sitting like one of the ventilation shafts. I was putting out the heat, but somebody could tell that I would look sick because like some medics or whatever you call them walked up to me about so I was okay. And basically at that point, um, I went home. Well, I heard they started playing They'll Give You Buck, so I I had to get back to it for that. And then right after that, I just went home. Yeah, I had a little bit of fun, but yeah, I had to ruin it for me. Um, I'm forgetting something else this year. Oh yeah, then also it came out like a lot of the people in the Smash Brothers community have came out with sexual assault and pedophilia allegations. That shit was crazy. And so, and then Evo 2013, 2020 got canceled. It got moved to online and then it ended being canceled altogether once the founder. I should have looked some of this stuff up before making this video. I forgot the guy's name. Oh, Mr. Wiz. Yeah, he had sexual allegations against him as well. Yes, 2020 has been a mess. Um, we also had Neo 2 came out this year too. Ori and the Blind Forest. No, Ori and the Will of Wisps came out. Ghost of Tsushima, which I was just sort of middle ground with. But after a while now, like towards yeah now, like in December, I see that it's actually it looks pretty good. I might actually give it a try eventually. Also, this is also the year that the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series consoles launched. And of course, they sold out like usual, and the scalpers came out just like usual. Sold out amazingly well. Of course, I still didn't, like usual, I didn't get the launch consoles for a number of reasons, mainly because they always come out with some problems. Like again, it happened this time, and there's always just a handful of games uh, when a console launches. So I'm in no rush. And plus, I don't even have like a 4K TV, which I feel like this generation is going to get more graphically um, advanced. So I want to bring out the full potential what these games can offer visually. So I feel like I can't just play it on a regular standard HD TV. I think the one I have is just like goes up to 720p. I think I'm not even sure if it could go up to full 1080p. So I need at least that. So I'll need a. I'll probably wait till I buy a new TV till I get a PS5 anyway. Miles Morales looked really cool though. Then we have the Demon Souls remake. Um, Actually, really cool with the Miles Morales. It's like the first black superhero I could think of that had their own video game. Some people will count the Blade game. I don't really consider Blade a superhero. He's more just like a vampire version of Punisher to me, really. Uh, hmm, what else for 2020? Oh, we also had Yakuza Like a Dragon came out, and for the first time in the series, it's a JRPG series. I'm actually going to get that eventually. It looks so goofy, and the setting is really unique for the series too. So, well, for the genre as a whole. So I'm going to get that eventually. There's also Hades, the indie hit that came out. It was really fun on my later because I have not been keeping up with the industry as I usually have these past few years. But so seeing Hades nominated as Game of the Year a lot um, really surprised me. So I'm going to look into that eventually. It's probably going to be a while though. Then we had the Game Awards just a few weeks ago, maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. Just like usual, the Game Awards kind of sucked. Um, all the all the winners you could see coming a mile away. They cater to a very specific audience, so it's easy to predict who's going to win each category. What I did like from it though was the Persona 5 Last Surprise remix performance. That was really nice. Mm. It wasn't really much announcements either. They at least had some decent games announced during the award show, but this year it was just whatever to me. I can't really remember anything except for Horizon Forbidden West being announced, and I had missed it because I came in the stream late, but I did see that Perfect Dark is getting another reboot, which I'm actually excited about that because it's been a while since we got anything Perfect Dark. The last one was bad from what I heard and from what I've seen. So I hope this reboot will be better than the last attempt. Um, what else? What else? I know I'm forgetting something else. Oh yeah, and then we have the whole incident with Cyberpunk 2077, which is like we was doing good in 2020 and so in terms of video game releases until Cyberpunk came out this month, and that's like the worst one I've seen lately. It's maybe because it's the first time anything like this has happened to me. Usually the type of games that come out bugging, I have never played. I think they're usually uh, Western RPGs and Ubisoft games, and I typically don't play their games. I think the last Ubisoft game I played was Scott Pilgrim versus the World, which is sort of their game. They published it, but it's not from one of their any of their studios. I don't think. I think it's from an indie studio. And before that, I think the last Ubisoft game I played was shit. I think it was the Prince of Persia titles on PlayStation 2. So Yeah, but Cyberpunk launched it really bad. I was so excited for the game too. It did look really well from the trailers and also the E3 demos that they showed off, and my hype was really up for this game too. I was really wanting to succeed mainly because it looked good and it was an adaptation of Mike Pondsmith's tabletop RPG Cyberpunk. Uh, it's 20 something something. I forget the name of it, but it's an adaptation of his tabletop RPG. And Mike Pondsmith is a black man too, so it's nice to see a little bit of representation in the video game industry in any form that we get, even though he's not a main developer on the staff for the game. So CD Projekt Red came out with that. Came out a buggy mess, especially on the PS4, on the base PS4 and base Xbox One. And I bought two copies for my PlayStation 4 because I had ordered from Best Buy, but it's going to come in late. I figured it was going to come in late, so I tried to change it to pick up in store instead, but I couldn't in time, so I went out and just got another copy. Man, and I really kind of regretted that because the performance is so terrible on the base PS4, especially on launch day. It immediately after with the character creation looked fine. Well, actually, it still feels wonky because for some reason you have sort of like mouse controls on it, and the cursor moves on its own sometimes. It's really weird to control. It got better over time, but it's still weird. But immediately starting the campaign, I saw all these like these scan lines across the floor that shouldn't be there. The game just looked weirdly blurry a lot. Um, it still performs bad. Like you always waiting for character models to load all the way. It's hilarious. You probably seen all the instances on the internet, but yeah, it looks so bad. It looked like a PS3 game when I first got it, man. It looked so bad. Um, and I'm still getting tons of crashes with this game. Every playthrough, I get at least one crash every time I boot up this game. But as far as the content goes, it's really well made and designed. It just need the performance needs to be fixed on this like really badly on the old gen consoles. And I know it's still glitchy for PC too, but after all the delays, because it got delayed three times, I thought it would be um, good by now. It was announced back in all the way back in 2012. I'm not sure where they went into full effect on development, but it's been a long time. But I was getting tired of the delays, but they should have had delayed it farther out than they did instead of just delaying it by less than a month. Because I think it was like mid November it was supposed to release, and then they just delayed it to December 10th instead of probably should have delayed it till February of next year. Yeah, but it sold the same amount. It already reached 13 million sales before the game even came out. That was just from pre-orders, and that, or I think that included day one purchases too. But they said they already made back their money from pre-orders, which is crazy. I know people were excited about this game. I didn't know everybody was excited about it as I was. I'm still disappointed about the character creation in there, though. Even though this is an adaptation of a Black Man's Tabletop RPG, this is still by a development studio in Poland. So practically a whole staff is white. So the skin tone options and the hairstyle options were still pretty weak as per usual for these game created for these user created games. Disappointed about that, but I'm still having fun with Cyberpunk. It's just the performance and the glitch is getting away sometimes. Um, but yeah, also Cyberpunk is now might be facing lawsuits from their investors for lying about the game and also all the crunch time that went in before the game. The game staff have complained to upper management about all the crunch they had to do and releasing the game for the base consoles before it was ready. I do remember reading an interview before that they saying it runs surprisingly well on last gen consoles, which was a straight up lie because it's garbage on old gen consoles. I have the PS4 version. It's garbage on there. Yeah, so they might be facing lawsuits for lying about the state of the game. I don't know how that's going to turn out, but I'm not sure. And oh yeah, then we also had Fall Guys came really popular this year, and Among Us, which came out in 2018, but it gained popularity this year, which is weird. I can't really think of any other games before that has been out for a while, but they ain't getting popularity till years later. Usually, everything that gets popular like within a year that it released. It's like little cult hits that happen like over the time. People who appreciate the game later on, but it doesn't become popular. Just like cult hit just on the ground. But yeah, Among Us came for the pop. I still didn't. I didn't want to play it myself. Not really interested in. I think it's a mobile title, but it doesn't seem like the game I'll like anyway. But that really took off because I think politicians were even playing that on Tish. I know. Was it Kamala Harris? I saw ads for. No, it wasn't Kamala Harris. It's that New York senator. What's her name? I want to say her last name is Cortez. She's the Latino one. I can't remember her name. Look up. Senator. Yeah, her name is Cortez. Alexandria Ocasio Cortez was playing this on live stream with Ilhan Omar. I haven't seen video games really being in the political spotlight in this for a long time. Like I said, I haven't been keeping up in the past few years, but the last time I remember was when the Grand Theft Auto series was popular, and that one lawyer tried to get it banned. Took it all the way to federal court, but that was the last time I remember it really being a political light like that. Yeah, 2020 for gaming is it was an interesting year to say the least. One of the best years for games, though. In general, there was plenty enough to play with. Like I said, we had Street Fighter V Championship Edition, Mortal Kombat 11 Ultimate Edition, um, Mortal Kombat 11 Ultimate, Dreams, Neo 2, Ghost of Tsushima, Persona 5 Royal, Final Fantasy 7 Remake, Last of Us 2, Cyberpunk 2077, um, Spider-Man Miles Morales, Demon Souls Remake, Resident Evil 3 Remake, Animal Crossing New Horizons. Oh yeah, I forgot Paper Mario Origami King came out. I was excited about it at first, but once I realized it wasn't an RPG again, I sort of just passed on it. What really is that? Was that the only two games? Oh, Hybrid Warriors Age of Calamity came out. Forgot about that. That looks good, but I still want to play. I still need to play Breath of the Wild before then. Oh yeah, then we got two new DLC characters, I believe, for Smash this year. We got Steve from Minecraft, and then Sephiroth from Final Fantasy VII. Uh, Actually, Sephiroth was the real surprise. Like, I did not expect another Final Fantasy character. And as much as a big fan I am as Final Fantasy, like one of the biggest fans out there, I'm still disappointed that they chose another seven character instead of anybody. They could have put in anybody else, and I would have been fine. Like anybody from any of the other games, and I'd have been fine. But I'm sick of tired of seven always getting the spotlight. Um, yeah, damn, I need to get Smash too. I never really just need to get a Nintendo Switch in. I know I'm probably forgetting something else that came out this year too. That's notable. Why can't I remember? Why can't I remember? But yes, Smash was like the last big thing that came out for this Sephiroth getting to Smash, the last big thing that came out for this year. But yeah, this 2020 in gaming. Been a crazy ass year. Shit, a lot of good shit came out. Um, really want to go back and get Yakuza and um, Animal Crossing. I'm just really disappointed I didn't get to play it at the peak of its popularity. Still gonna have a following, but at the time when it released, though, I know I had a felt quite different. Hmm. But yeah, this oh, there was a couple other things I forgot to mention too. The Super Nintendo World theme park actually opened up this year, and then they had a direct for that. It looked The theme park looked nice. It looks very small though. Could use some rides, but then I found out it's actually just a section of Universal Studios theme park. So, but I heard they're also expanding it as well. There's supposed to be a Donkey Kong portion that's not open yet. But just from the video footage we see, it looks nice. It looks really cute. Um, I can't wait to be able to open up worldwide though. But the pandemic is still going on, so who knows when that will be. And then also Nintendo is still being um, some butt heads with their IPs. They also pulled they tried to pull and cease and desist with some Joy Cons that were being sold, but basically all the money was going to charity for suicide prevention because as you know, gaming personality Attica had passed away last year. I believe it was last summer, summer 2019, and some people were making like just custom Joy Cons with his. I think one of his catchphrases with Joy-Con boys on it, and they were selling those out. But all the money was going to charity, not their own pockets. And so I'm not sure why Nintendo was like really being some dick son in regards to that, um, especially like you can see the context of that situation. Attica played their games all the time, and the money was used, and he died of suicide, and the money was going to suicide prevention program. So, really, that was really a bad look on Nintendo's part. They've been doing that shit for a while. I don't, I don't understand. It's their property, so they can do it, but I just don't agree with that. They always been doing. Even I think a lot of other companies they just don't really care when it comes to certain things like that, and especially with fan games too. I think there's a bunch of Sonic fan games out there. Sega doesn't really make a fuss about those, but Nintendo always tries to shut anything down involving the property that a fan community does. But, oh, I just had to tell from that real quick. Oh, one other thing I forgot about was the fucking KFC coming out with a video game console. I think I originally had saw like the passing video of it back in June when they first teased or announced that, but it really went out my memory. Like I brushed it off, probably just thinking it was like a fake or either some joke. But then until just recently, a few days ago, KFC just came out with a full ass video ad for it, and it's even up on their website for their KF console, as they call it. This shit still looks like a joke to me. Like, ain't no way in hell this is real. Then somebody's gonna actually buy a fucking KFC video game console that you can store your chicken in to heat it up. It just sounds stupid as fuck. But all right, this is the last time. I just had to talk about that dumb shit real quickly.